Welcome to Friday, the 17th day of December 2021. Thanks for tuning in to the Day Weather Podcast. Well, as we head into this weekend, we're ramping up to Christmas. What does Mother Nature have in store for us? Well, first of all, we're going to see a little bit of snow up in the high country of the northern and central Rockies today, but it's going to be pretty darn chilly. In fact, today and tonight and Saturday, it's going to feel like, well, as it should for this time of year. We'll have some mountain snow today and into the night. Nothing really big, but there's going to be some decent snow in some areas. Jacksonville ski area got 13 inches of snow last night, and the Wasatch Front of Utah got some really good snow. We're going to see a few flurries on the plains, but nothing significant. Now, there's a break in the weather Saturday through Tuesday. We expect good travel weather for most of the region. This includes you football fans. For anybody that's going to head to Boise for the Potato Bowl, travel weather this weekend through Tuesday to Boise looks good. Wednesday on the trip home may have a little weather to deal with, but getting to Boise and during the day Tuesday for the Potato Bowl, the weather looks good. Still a lot of question marks for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Really, from Friday through Christmas weekend, there's still a lot of model disagreement. It does look colder, and it does look like there might even be some snow chances for some of you between Christmas Eve and the Sunday after Christmas, but still some question marks. So hopefully on Monday, we'll have some better detail for you. Also, update you on what the weather conditions are like to maybe get a peek at Comet Leonard during sunset over the next few evenings. Getting some nice photos in. Now that we're done with the windstorm, it's nice to show you some pretty pictures instead of semis blown over. Nice shot here. Cody to Billings on a flight. Beautiful shot there. Another great shot from the Cody area, lenticular clouds up in northwestern Wyoming. Just a beautiful scenery there that we have in northwestern Wyoming with the clouds, the snow on the mountains, and just the nice contrast in colors and clouds there. As we take a look at where we are right now, this trough, you can see the dip coming through right here. This is the system that's going to produce some snow in the mountains, some flurries on the plains, and if you follow the wind barbs, you can see that the airflow is coming in from some really cold areas. So this system is going to make the next 48 hours pretty cold across the western United States, with a couple little lows back up here that are going to kind of complicate things out here in the Pacific here in the coming days. Once this system moves through, though, this area of high pressure that's building along the west coast is going to slip in. So as we get into the weekend and into Monday and Tuesday of next week, there won't be much weather. This is what the precipitation does look like through Monday afternoon. Now, if there's going to be an area of travel concern this weekend and into Monday, it's going to be in Montana. The cold air that's coming out of Canada is going to be overrun by Pacific moisture. This is called overrunning. So in parts of Montana, in the western Dakotas there, then across the Pacific Northwest, this is going to be an area where there's going to be some snowfall this weekend. Most of this snow right here in the mountains of Colorado and Wyoming and Utah and Idaho here, this is mostly going to be happening over the next 24 hours or so. And dry conditions remain here on the plains. This is what the snowfall looks like. So you can see as you get up here in the central Montana, there's going to be some snow on the ground falling here over the next 72 to 90 hours. Temperatures by tomorrow morning. See all the gray? The gray shows where temperatures may go below zero. Lots of single digits and teens and some sub-zero temperatures coming. So nothing record-breaking. It's just, well, getting colder. More like it should the deeper we get into December. Now, as we take a look, this is the forecast 500 millibar chart for 18,000 feet for Monday and the Tuesday. Lots of waves here going on, lots of wiggliness. But high pressure now is going to come on in temporarily. This is why the flow becomes more westerly, which means more mild. So as we get into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and probably Wednesday of next week, there's not much going on. So for holiday travelers, other than what I just showed you up there in Montana, North Dakota, and the Pacific Northwest, there's really not much going on from Saturday through Tuesday. However, as we go forward, this is what the pattern changes to. Notice this is a really significant change. This low right here retrogrades and weakens to the west. This is by Monday night. This is by Thursday afternoon. Monday night, Thursday afternoon. Notice a consolidation of the blue colors representing the cold over west central Canada, northwest Canada, now poking The really cold air is poking into eastern Washington, Idaho, parts of Montana here by the end of next week and into the Dakotas. This is some really bona fide, extremely cold air, Arctic air, nudging its way closer. So as we get into late Thursday into Friday, we're going to start to see colder air beginning to move in and the precipitation increasing. This little ripple, see that little ripple right there? That could amplify a little bit, then come down as we get into Friday and Christmas weekend. What's going to complicate the forecast, this high pressure ridge is going to build up towards the Aleutians. This little low right here, it doesn't look like much, does it? But this could dictate whether or not the Arctic air makes a plunge south or gets directed more to the east. Why? Well, if this low drifts more towards the coast and doesn't retrograde, that could keep the Arctic air more into these areas here and not allow it to maybe get south of I-80. If this low stays out here or retrogrades a little bit more this way, the Arctic air will have more opportunity to make a bigger dip south around that Christmas Eve, Christmas weekend time frame and into the new year. And there it is. Look at these temperatures. This is by next Friday afternoon, basically Christmas Eve afternoon. These purple areas basically show temperatures 30 to 40 degrees below average. So you're talking about well below zero temperatures poking into the Dakotas, across Montana, wanting the nudge in the northern Wyoming around Christmas Eve into Christmas Day. The warmest temperatures relative to averages are going to be in the central and eastern United States. So here's the cold. If you want to know where that severe cold is, it's really not that far away, but it has to have that opportunity to come in. So this little low right here, as it changes and the pattern changes, is going to dictate things going forward. Now I want to show you a couple of things about the long-term forecast. Earlier today, we got the new long-range forecast from the European Center that goes out to 45 days. If you were to add today all the way through January 31st, add all the temperatures up, compare them to averages, this white area here, where it interfaces with the blue, shows where the coldest temperatures relative to normal will be over the next 45 days according to the computer model, while it's warmer here in the southern plains and points east. Now we do think that this may be more like this in terms of the penetration for the cold. But the overall message here is that we continue to see, as we get between Christmas and New Year's and after the new year, the whole western and northern United States is going to be trending colder and staying colder. Now let's take a look at the 40-day to 45-day precipitation forecast for the European model that takes us through the 31st of January. There's a couple of things that really stand out. What I'm showing you is the total precipitation forecasted in inches by the model. Now, this is a model, okay? It's not reality. It's a projection of what could happen. But what you want to use these modeling tools for is looking at the trends. What is the trend, and do you start to see patterns? One thing that really shows up here is the snow hole along the front range of New Mexico to Colorado to southeastern Wyoming out into the plain states. We have been talking about this in podcasts here over the last several days. That snow hole is classic La Nina with downsloping winds coming off the Continental Divide. So you just have this drier pocket east of the Rockies. So that is going to continue, and we'd expect it in a La Nina. We wouldn't expect anything else in a moderately strong La Nina like we have now. It does show precipitation falling, but relative to average, it'll be below normal. As we take a look, though, at western areas of the divide, look at the snow that is showing up here west of the divide. Look at the West Coast. Look at California. Look at the Sierra Nevada, the Cascades. Also, even into Boise here, even into this region here, the Wasatch Front, Yellowstone Plateau, the Central Rockies of Colorado and southern Wyoming, the higher terrain of Arizona. What we may have here over the next 45 days is a snow pattern in the mountains that may be exceeding expectations that folks have with snowpack. Let's hope this comes to fruition. If it does, this will really help the snowpack catch up significantly over the next 4 weeks. Significantly catch up. East of the divide, it's a different story. If you were to look at this compared to averages, the green and the blue and the darker shades of blue and the lighter blue here really show where it's much above the normals for this time of year. So you can see along and west of the divide, there's a lot of green and a lot of blue. The Bighorn Basin, basically the areas east of the mountains, and then along the front range of Wyoming to New Mexico into the plains here, the snow hole continues in the 45-day period. I'm not saying there won't be snow here, there will be. But if you want to look for the big snows, it's going to be west of the divide. And this area right here could really be a big boost to California. Let's take a look now at the Comet Leonard scenario. So in the evening, looking to the southwest just after sunset, find Venus, look just below Venus, and you may find Comet Leonard. Right now it's a magnitude 4, which is pretty bright. The problem is in the evening, a magnitude 4 comet is still going to be hard to see with the naked eye because of the glow of sunset. However, with binoculars or a telephoto lens, you're going to be able to pick it up. A lot of folks were able to see it yesterday, but we had clouds in many areas. The cloud forecast looks like this through the evening hours around sundown in the region. So some of you are going to be able to see it, some of you won't. For Saturday, it's going to be to the left, a little to the southwest of Venus right there. That's where you're going to want to look tomorrow evening. The cloud forecast tomorrow evening looks a little bit better. So see if you can get a glimpse of Leonard right around or just after sundown. Have yourself a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you on Monday.